Welcome to the podcast. This is Matt Eagle from Eagle AI Agency. I'm here with James. If you've been following along, we've done about 40 plus podcasts at this point. Just talking to business owners, talking about, obviously how they started their business and their coaching business. We started in professional services, HR, and now we're moving into more coaching and consulting field. I love James's background because he talks about coaching and consulting, the second piece of that, which I 100% agree with. And so, James, if you can, go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your business and your background, and we'll jump right into the questions.
Sure. My name is James Moragliata. My business is Mentori Coaching. Also a senior partner at Kaizen Mastery Group, which is a collaborative of coaches across the country. As far as my background, I hate to admit it, but I've been out there for about 39 years now. And over that 39 years, I've been coaching in one fashion or another. Early on in my career, I was lucky enough. I got to play professional basketball in Spain, in Italy, for a bit. After that, I came home, and I did a little marketing, trying to find out what I wanted to do before going to law school. I had a law firm for about 3 decades. During that time, I did a lot of venture capital work, a lot of startup work in the very early days of high tech companies like Red Hat back in the day.
Crazy. It's
Um,
a big company today.
and really got to take that ride, and it was quite a ride.
Yeah.
At the time, it was sort of the Wild West. And Probably around 2007, I left the practice of law. I was at that point a little discouraged. Um, Sort of in the law, you a lot of what you do is tell people why they shouldn't do things, the dangers of doing things. I really wanted to get more into the side of helping people figure out how they can do things,
Right.
more creative. Um, so I entered into a couple of decades after that in finance, international project development, some humanitarian work. And again, for all of that 38 years, central to what I was doing was coaching. And that's before the International Coaching Federation, before that they were even around. I was doing coaching. And I think, my background in sports really helped with the mindset of coaching. And that sort of mindset of a good leader, a good coach. You bring out the best in those that you're leading or you're coaching.
Yeah.
Um,
If you don't mind me asking, I didn't get to ask this last time, and we've only seen each other virtually. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4". So
Okay.
I know you can't tell from the podcast screen, but no, I'm 6'4". For a Sicilian, that's very tall.
Yeah.
I did have all sorts of aspirations when I was young. Got injured, and spent a lot of college rehabbing. Thus, how I ended up in Europe. But it was a great experience.
That's amazing. And so to kind of go into your business in general, because you have such a vast background. I mean, law school, you're practicing the law, and now you're helping business consulting. So you've probably seen so many different things, right? How did you start your coaching business, and like maybe what are some of the hangups you had when you first started your business?
Um, yeah, I think what led me into the law, and where I got my success is logic. And I think for a lot of founders, they're full of energy, they're full of ideas, and the secret is focusing that.
Right.
There are so many talented people that never get to market and never get their inspiration into fruition, just because of that lack of focus. So really, what I do and really what I honed during my legal careers is breaking down issues, breaking down the process of starting a company all the way from ideation. What do you want this company to be? How do you think it's going to look? All the way to funding at at the end, and then setting up a corporation for success, leadership,
Yeah.
which is an issue that runs through everything.
Oh man,
Um,
I've seen
te-
that too many times. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I mean, teaching people how to be leaders. There are a lot of brilliant tech people out there, and not to categorize people in one way or the other, but from what I've found in these real geniuses, tech geniuses, is they have next to no people skills, and that has gotten worse because as as younger generations have grown up with their literally they're facing a phone. They lack that empathy, that personal one-on-one ability to communicate, that ability to lead, to read signs from other people, which is crucial to leading and growing a company.
Yeah. It's awesome that you take them from vision to iteration to funding, like it's the full life cycle and then successive leadership afterwards, right? Where do you find people have the most struggle when they first start their business? What part of that phasing do you see that people really get hung up on?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's nothing new. The core of business is you find a problem that needs a solution, and you create that solution. Too many um, entrepreneurs they have this great idea, but it's not tied into a problem. They create this
Yeah.
product and then go looking for a market that wants that product rather than starting what's needed, what does society need, and then you have your market, and then you're building a product to serve that market, and when it's built, you have a customer base ready, willing, and able to take on that product. And
Absolutely.
that again is that sort of self awareness, you know, being able to see outside yourself, um, and it may sound something may sound really cool to you, but it doesn't mean that that's going to solve a problem or there's a market for it.
Do you find it hard people letting go of that product they created to find demand level products?
Yes, and I find this a lot with my engineer and my when I do medical technology, biotech, um, doctors especially they're never done perfecting.
Mm,
And that if you let them in a room, they'd just spend their whole career perfecting this product and never
right,
let it out because it's their baby and they want it to be perfect.
right.
Um, and there's that sense of there's a point where it just needs to be perfect enough to get
Mm,
it out. And the real way of improving a product is getting it out there, getting
mm,
feedback. It's the end user at the end of the day that's going to be the best source of telling you, I wish it had this feature, or this is the difficult I'm having with it.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
it's as you said, it's that letting go. It's just like a child; they don't want to let it out of the house.
yeah. It's kind of like when you get into companies, when you get into their sales teams, when they're already successful, they tell you to stop overthinking it, right? Just go sell the thing because it's demand and market. And when you first start your business, you just overthink everything, right? Like just get the product out there and it's going to start selling because there's a demand for it, which I think is amazing. And so when you're going into a lot of these separate companies, when you start with the first iteration, when do you typically meet somebody? Are the demographic or the ICP that you have brand new business owners that are trying to start a business, or do you actually get caught up in the middle of somebody's production or on the end of the production? Like, do you meet everybody each phase differently?
Yeah, I mean every case is different. I get everything from I have a great idea. What do I do?
Right.
Um, and everybody thinks they have $1 million idea, or now that's not a lot of money anymore, $1 billion idea, but and it's not fully formed.
Mm,
And they want to go out to investors, and they really don't have the grasp on their own idea yet. Who's the market? How are we going to present this? Where's the ROI if we put money into your company? How are you setting up your company for success? um and that's that blank stare, and that's what we work very hard to avoid.
yeah.
I do a lot of role play and a lot of work with my clients in getting them to understand that outside view and to be able to
Yeah.
respond to it in a way that's not frustrating. A lot of times, founders get frustrated because they know their product. It came out of their
Yeah.
brain, and they get very frustrated when someone else doesn't just grasp it right away and can't
Yeah.
see what they see.
That is probably the most frustrating part. I built a product myself and it's starting to sell. They're like, I just can't see it. And you're like, what do you mean you can't see it, right? But it's because you haven't visualized it for them. And then you got to slow down and like help them really understand what you're trying to accomplish. You talked about role play, which I find super interesting. You're probably the first executive coach to talk about how you role play. I'm guessing you're role playing scenarios when in meetings and customer meetings and client like the actual funding meetings and doing those things. Like what does that role play typically look like?
Um, in a lot of ways, that's where my legal career
Mhm.
comes in, because as a lawyer, you're taught to take any position.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether you believe in the position or not. Your client's position is your position, and you need to present that the best. So, it's a lot of playing the devil's advocate.
Mm.
Well, why would I want this? Well, how does that solve my problem? What makes your product different from every other product out there, which
Right.
invariably is the hot button issue, because
Yeah.
everybody thinks their idea is completely unique. And unfortunately, most ideas are an improvement or grow out of something else. There's
Mhm.
very few purely out of the blue brand new idea. No one in the face of the earth has ever thought of this. Um, so it's a lot of understanding how to set yourself up apart from other people, how
Yeah.
to show your value against other people's value. I
Yeah.
had someone the other day on an AI product call me up. They thought they had an AI assistant that does everything. And my first
Yeah.
comment was, well, there's literally 100 products out there.
It's
What
all the
what
same. Yeah.
and then the issue is, well, they thought theirs was the best, and I said, well, it's AI. I
Hmm.
said, you're taking people's personal information. You want this to be able to go and make reservations, doctor's appointments. I go, well, it's dealing with your people's personal information. That AI is an open platform.
Mm.
So, and something as simple as that, they were so enamored with the functionality that they didn't look at the practicality. Well,
Yeah.
we're taking in people's information, and now it's out there, so that literally, ChatGPT could provide that to anybody out there. Because
Yeah.
once you give it to
Literally.
to
Yeah.
AI, it's in AI's database, and it's going to
Unless
be
it's yeah.
reused.
Unless it's AI code. If it's code based, it doesn't. But yeah, if you're using a URL and a www dot, it's going to everybody, right?
Yeah,
Like
so you
it's
have to create a closed system,
yeah.
and that's what we've gone through. In my work, I do a good deal of AI ethics work,
Mhm.
and there's lawyers that have lost their license because they let AI write their motions, and AI literally made up cases.
Yeah.
Um, you know, a very big issue with hospitals. They have to create a closed system because HIPAA and all
HIPAA.
that
Yeah.
private information. And those are the things that creators don't like to think about. They love the pizzazz. They love the wow factor,
Hmm.
and it's really sort of a drag when you bring them down and go, well, how about all these issues? How about all
Yeah.
this liability potential?
Hmm.
How are you going to deal with this?
Are you
It's
certified in the first place too? Right? Like, are you
Yeah.
legally certified to do things? Yeah. Yeah, and I'm guessing a lot of those people are young. They're young, so that's like they didn't really have business experience before building the full application in the first place. I'm guessing too.
Yeah, and I find my I love startups. That's my bread and butter. I just love the
Mhm.
energy. If I could stick to one thing, it would just be working with startups. And the where the relationship works is my experience. Um,
Mhm.
and 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 the good founders, they seek out people with experience. They're not coming
Right.
to me to tell them how to do their tech product. They're
Right.
not asking me to code. That's not my thing. But they are asking me, how do we do this in a way that we're going to be noticed? How do we present ourselves to investors?
Yeah.
What are the pitfalls that you've seen that we can avoid with your experience? Um,
Yeah. That's
and
amazing.
those are the important things.
Yeah, those are the things. Even if you made $1 million, that $1 million is going away really quickly if you don't get those things set up.
Yeah, and it's just, in leadership, I had mentioned before that self-awareness, but it's also empathy.
Yeah.
A good leader, a good leader finds talent and gets the most out of talent. People think that the idea, there's this idea with founders that I have to do everything.
Mm,
I have to keep it all in my brain and I have to lock it down and I'll just give people little bits and that really limits growth. When you make your employee stakeholders, when you make your salespeople and sales and marketing, if they're making a piece of the pie, if they get to um, have an input, that's when you really see a company excel because who better than the sales and marketing people to know what the customers want?
yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
in every tower isn't connected to the customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
it,
it's the
it's
creativity that comes in with the motivation too. I just left a company that the leadership, it was exactly what you're saying. It was sorry, I shut my phone. It was a highly technical company, right? And like you said, not a lot of people skills, just fired people on the spot. Nobody had motivation. Everybody was scared, that type of stuff, right? And just like you were talking about, when you motivate them and they bring these creative ideas, and then the whole place kind of evolves, right? Because everybody has a piece of the pie. Everybody wants to bring a new idea. And it was almost like when I was working for her, I was scared to give her a new idea, right? And it might get shut down. It might happen like this. So I 100% agree that, like, I think we talked about in the first part, everything rises and falls on leadership, right? On the company. So, oh, go ahead if you had something to add there.
no, no, no. Yeah, I was just gonna say the three most important words that I teach my leaders, my founders, if they want to get loyalty and creativity out of the team, the three most important words, and it sounds counterintuitive, I don't know. If you go to your team and say, "This is what I want to do," I really don't know how to get there, but I know if we work together or with your expertise, we can get there. They're going to step up. If you
Yeah,
say this is what's got to get done, just do it. Don't ask any questions and don't question me. People are going to go, okay, you don't care. You
yeah,
don't care. Uh, from my knowledge, you don't care what my experience has been. I'm just going to do what you told me to do. And if it
yeah,
fails, it's on you. And that doesn't build a company.
no,
Nothing builds more respect when someone just a leader comes to you and says, "Listen, this is what we've got to do. I really don't know how we're going to get there, but I know between us we can do that together."
yeah.
It makes all the difference in the world.
And it's authentic and it's a relationship at that point. It's amazing. So obviously you're working with AI startups. Like, what have you seen as like good things that AI has brought to the table and some bad things? And how should people be thinking about AI today? Some people are skeptical. I got a phone call yesterday from a business owner I talked to almost 4 or 5 months ago. He said, "I'll never use AI. I'm 100% against it. I'm on the other side of the fence." What would you say to those people and where the market's going with the technology?
I see that a lot from a lot of my larger clients are actually putting a hold on AI.
Really?
It's because AI is a tool,
Hmm.
and too many people are using AI as the answer.
Right.
As and AI is like a really good research assistant, and what comes out of AI is only as good as what you put in.
Mm.
And then even what comes out with even though AI is getting much better, but there's still hallucinations. You need to have that follow up. You
Yep.
need to have that critical thought process, that empathy,
Hmm.
and that's what AI doesn't have. AI can answer the question, and it can look at it very dispassionately.
Hmm.
Um, but but at the end of the day, it really is how you use it, and where I think I'm working with a lot of companies in analytics now.
Right.
It's okay, we have all this information. That's what AI is great. Now instead of having 20 analysts, AI can do this for me in a couple hours, get all this information.
Hmm.
But the real next step is the algorithms and the information analytics that take that information, boil
Yeah.
it down, and turn that into useful information.
Yeah.
You know, it, it,
Absolutely.
it because there's so much out there, and unless you have that component, you're just what AI gives you. A lot of people take as gospel. Well, that could be 1/20th of what's
Yeah.
out there, and you're missing so much.
Yeah. There's that component of it with the data, but there's a second component of it helping with operations. But even in operation, there has to be a human component of it. So, for instance, every tool that I use for any type of AI automation or sales process, it's all connected to one place, one brain, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect whatsoever. I don't think it ever will be. I think it can't replace the human being. What it can do though is it can enhance the human experience if used appropriately. Right. That's the
Correct.
passion I have for small businesses is getting them competent just with AI so they know what it does and then start putting the pieces together with the personality of their business. Right. I think a lot of people they don't know that every tool that comes out is just another white label of another tool and they just took another piece out and put another piece in. So most of they said 2% of the market actually use AI today. 2%, right? Most people are afraid because they don't understand how it works, for one, and then two, they don't want to get bamboozled on a cost, right? Hey, this is $5,000, but if you talk to the next guy, it's $200, right? The price fluctuation is just so extreme. There's no like market to be like, hey, there's this new tool. How does it compare to the others, right? So yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think AI can enhance. It can create experiences that makes it a lot easier for you and makes your life so much easier. But at the same time, like it's almost better to slow down to speed up to say which tools are the best for me, and then
Yep.
what tools do I want on the internet and what tools do I not want on the internet because you don't want everything in AI to be web-based browsered AI, right? You want a closed loop system like you said because the Perplexity is literally a tool that pulls all of your information, chat GPT, your websites, your content, your marketing, conversations, and you can
It's
literally
gone.
steal somebody's brand. That's literally what Perplexity does, right? So closed loop systems are so important. But we're rounding out on the 30 minutes. You have such a phenomenal story, and I know you have a book coming out too. Can you do a quick plug on the book and some of that story just so people can hear about it?
Sure, sure. The book's been out actually for a little while. It's called Time at the Edge. It's under my pen name, James Vincent. Vincent's my middle name. Um, in After a wild career, um, uh, I I, uh, I ended up in Florida just before COVID, and I want to get my dates right, but somewhere around um, 2009, 2010. I met my second wife, actress, just a very talented woman. What I didn't know was she was schizophrenic. Um, so I ended up over our 12 years together. Her condition progressed. So I had to change my career a little bit to accommodate being a full time caregiver. Um, Freak accident. As her condition got very uh, advanced. We had set her up in a separate room. One night, simply, I forgot to lock my door, which was just a precaution. At night while I'm sleeping, she had a manic episode. Um, I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning to her on top of me with a 16-inch chef's knife, and literally stabbed me to death. I actually passed. Uh, um, and it was unexplained. They did two studies on me. Have no reason why I'm still able to walk, talk, think. I've recovered 100%. But it was just divine intervention. Everything from when they were medevacing me, they were going to take me to Tampa from where I was, um, which there were two trauma centers, one in Tampa, one in Fort Myers. Tampa was about an extra 10 minutes, but it was the major. So they were, because of the severity of my injuries, they were going to take me to Tampa. As soon as they took off, the wind from the north um, just came out of nowhere, forcing them to go south. And when we got to Fort Myers, they had later told me at Fort Myers that I literally had a 3 minute window, and if they had gone north, I would have never recovered.
Wow.
And during that two days of coma, Yeah, I was a spiritual person. I was never. I can't say I was a overly devout person before, but literally went to the edge of heaven, had the experience, and came back a completely changed man.
Mhm.
I was a hired gun before. Had very little time for personal relationships. Very much like a surgeon. I got in, I got out. A lot of my work involved, everything from hostage negotiation to wars between companies fighting hostile takeovers. So there wasn't a lot of room for personal. After that, it was completely different. I then realized, and what I tell all my clients is I believe with all my heart that opportunities are always coming by us constantly, and we're all so caught up in our belief that we control, that we're the creator, that we're so focused on what we want that we're not seeing what's coming towards us. And once you just take a breather and open up, so many opportunities are there that people walk right by every single
Mhm.
day. And it's that opening your eyes, taking a moment to talk to people, to listen, to actually listen to other people. Um, and the last 2 years, the opportunities that have come to me and that have I've been able to take advantage of have been amazing. And prior to this trauma, I never would have been in that space. I believed I controlled everything. I
Mhm.
believed I was the driver.
Yeah.
And I missed so much. Um,
Yeah.
So, it's that openness, and the same goes in business. It's it's getting out of your own way, getting out of your own head, and listening to the universe, listening to the audience that you serve. They'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you how to succeed.
That's amazing. My gosh, what's a phenomenal story. I can sit here and listen to you all day. Um, I, I, I was going to talk about my experience, but I think we'll put a period on that because I don't need to even talk about mine. But James, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Thank you for just giving me some time. There's some people on podcasts that I'm like, these guys are big time, getting on my podcast. You're one of them, and I appreciate it. And yeah, I just wanted to say thanks.
It's been my pleasure. Anytime. Yeah, I would enjoy coming back sometime and hearing your story. So maybe we
Awesome.
can we can do that in the future.
Absolutely.